welcome to Deconstructed. I'm the Maven, and I'm here with you for weekly news in weather, entertainment, lots of great stuff coming your way. So don't go anywhere, and be sure to stay with us, and make sure you follow as well on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay, so here we'll get started with the weather and the forecast. Now the weather we are forecasting is for Cambodia, but we will have lots of international news and such ahead. The weekend forecast for this weekend, normal rain with temperatures of 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. Now, if you're Celsius challenged and you only know Fahrenheit, well, it's going to be about 86 to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the coast in Sihanoukville will be having some very bad storms and lots of flooding. Now, thunderstorms are predicted for the entire week ahead, so get ready for that, and a slight rise in temperature to 33 degrees Celsius, which is 91 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, the temperature and the heat index is probably going to be just a little bit off, uncomfortable, but that's okay. We love it. Holidays coming up that you might be interested in today, Saturday, is World Honeybee Day. And you know, honeybees are just so important because without them pollinating all of our fruits and vegetables, we wouldn't have any food to eat. So celebrate the honeybee. International Homeless Animal Day as well. So you might want to check out shelter and maybe adopt a pet. On Monday, I love this one. It is Spumoni Day. I love spumoni. You don't know what spumoni is? Well, it's a dessert, typically considered Italian. It's got pistachio, chocolate, and cherry all together. Often it's an ice cream, but sometimes it might be like a layered pudding cake, like a tiramisu, only with chocolate, cherry, and pistachio. Yummy, yummy. That's Monday. On Thursday is Burger Day. So burgers, if you want a veggie burger or a meat burger, whatever kind of burger you want, go have a burger on Thursday because it's Burger Day. It's also Pluto demoted from a planet day back in 2006. That's when it happened. I am not happy about that. So I think that should be like a protest day or something, that Pluto is no longer a planet. But whatever, the astronomers and physicists and all the science guys, they say it doesn't qualify as a planet, so whatever. Friday is Kiss and Makeup Day, so if you have any issues with anybody, Friday's the day to kiss and make up. And get this, in addition to kissing and making up, it's Banana Split Day. So once you've made up, go get yourself a banana split to celebrate. All right, so those are the holidays coming up. Now we're into news, starting with international news. World War III did not happen. Woohoo! But China did join sanctions against North Korea, and Chile rejected a U.S. Request to cut ties with North Korea. So a little bit still going on with that, but really the big story is that just last night, at least 13 people were killed and more than 100 injured after a van rammed through crowds in the heart of Barcelona in what the Spanish Prime Minister described as an act of jihadi terrorism. While the driver fled, 2 suspects have been arrested. And that is just tragic. I was watching video this morning of that, and I was in tears. It's really, really bad what happened there. Saudi Arabia has reopened Qatar borders for the Hajj pilgrims, so that's nice of them. Queen Elizabeth II has expressed her sadness over the mudslide disaster in Sierra Leone that killed more than 300 people. Some 600 people are thought to remain missing as anguished family members and rescue workers continue to dig through tons of mud and debris there in Sierra Leone. 8 people have been charged in Thailand with insulting the monarchy for allegedly burning portraits of members of the royal family. An Australian senator provoked an angry backlash from lawmakers by wearing a burqa in Parliament as part of her campaign for a national ban on Islamic face covers. Yeah, a lot of brouhaha going on about that. Well, Taiwan's economic minister has resigned amid nationwide blackout when human error was at a Taiwan power plant that left more than 668,000 homes and offices without power. So he is out of there. Police have put a red alert on South Africa's borders. Why? To prevent any attempt by Zimbabwean First Lady Grace Mugabe from fleeing the country. She's accused of assaulting a model in a Johannesburg hotel. Philippine police have killed at least 32 people in drug raids, and it was thought to be the highest death toll in a single day in the country's war on drugs. Now, since that particular day, even more, over 3 days, it has risen even higher. All right, the last international news I'm going to talk about is selfie-obsessed tourists killed a baby dolphin, and this was in Spain. Do not mess with wildlife. They are in the wild. They need to stay in the wild. They've got their circle of life going on. And when you interrupt that, quite often they die. And that's not worth your selfie with a baby dolphin or whatever kind of animal it is. So there, enough said. Moving on to Cambodian news. Border tensions with Laos were diffused after troops were sent to Stung Treng. A local TV presenter came under fire for comments he made on the air, instructing rape victims to give in to assault rather than to fight their attackers. So there's a lot going on back and forth with that issue, and I believe that he did say an apology. Yunnan Investment Holdings confirmed plans to build Siem Reap's new international airport, with construction beginning next year and over the course of 3 phases. The National Bank of Cambodia unveiled a new online trading platform. Phnom Penh is halfway through a 2-week crackdown on pawn shops in order to prevent the sale of stolen goods at the increasing number of second-hand establishments across the capital. And that continues to be in the news daily as far as motorcycles, smartphones, jewelry, things that they've recovered. An ethnic minority couple living to be 100 years old claims natural medicine and foods contributed to their longevity. Heavy rains have been flooding Sihanoukville, so if you're in Kampong Som or Pria Sihanouk province, you really want to watch out with those rains because there is widespread flooding, and the storms are going on even as we are speaking. In mid-September 2017, the Troy Changma Bridge will begin the repairs. Now, this is something that we've been waiting for a long time, as maybe 2 or 3 years ago, cracks were discovered on the bridge. Now, I happen to live on Troy Changbar, so this is of great concern to myself. And buses and heavy trucks have continued to go over the bridge. And so I, for one, am glad to see that they will be finally closing the bridge to repair it. Now, they've given dates before and they didn't follow through, so I hope that this time they do. 9 critically endangered Siamese crocodiles emerged from their eggs in Kokong province, with more expected to hatch soon. So that's good. These endangered crocodiles are getting a chance to repopulate. All right, so now it is time for our commentary. This is where we actually do the deconstruction of a news story, and hence Deconstructed, the name of the show. We're going to look at what's been happening in Charlottesville. This has been going on for a week now, and so I'm going to break it down for you. Just in time to distract people from their fears about North Korea, a driver plowed into a rally of white supremacists and the counter-protesters in Charlottesville, Virginia. The media has been obsessed with President Trump's comments about this tragedy, and for the reason why they're upset is that he is not condemning the white supremacists as racists. So we'll get to what he says in a little bit. So what actually happened? Let's look at that. A week ago Friday night, white supremacists, also known as neo-Nazis, infamous for hating anyone who is not white, held a march in their typical fashion with torches to protest the removal of a statue of Robert E. Lee. Now, he was a general of the South during the American Civil War, and he's considered a symbol of racism. On Saturday, counter-protesters arrived and a riot broke out, and by Saturday night a state of emergency was declared, bringing in the National Guard to quell the violence. Then a car plowed into the crowd of counter-protesters, killing 1 and injuring 10. This, of course, is a tragedy. Reactions were varied, but if there were any cries of tragedy about the victims hit by the car, they were drowned out by the political shouts that Trump's comments were too broad. Some people defended Trump, saying they praised the president on CNN for not naming the groups involved and instead focusing on an overarching call for Americans to love one another. Trump has said, what he said was that it's an egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. But he did not explicitly call out any party for blame. When tragedy strikes, it takes time to investigate, and if you start blaming too early, you could have to eat your words when the facts start coming in. So maybe as an initial comment, it wasn't that bad. But who were the counter-protesters? Let's look at this. A group called Antifa. Now that is short for anti-fascist. And this is a very violent group. They're not just in America. Oops, sorry about that. They're not just in America. They are also all over the world trying to get rid of fascism. Oops. Double tap on there. Okay. Let's see where we were. So the Antifa group, the counter-protesters, were armed with weapons and dressed in their own riot gear. Now, while the white supremacists were not, they were just in regular clothes. They had gone to a park to have a rally. They were intending to be peaceful. They had a permit for this rally. Now, the mayor of Charlottesville tried to revoke the permit, but the ACLU actually defended the permit to the Supreme Court, and it was upheld. So their permit and their right to have their rally was upheld by the Supreme Court of Virginia. When the riot police arrived, they began to corral and push the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists who had a permit, into the street, out of the park and into the street where all of the Antifa counter-protesters were. So they had nowhere else they could go. They couldn't leave peaceably. They were forced to go into the street with Antifa, who then began to attack them. Now, a spokesman for the ACLU said this. This is the ACLU speaking. Quote, "I was there and brought concerns directly to the Secretary of Public Safety and the head of the state police. They did not respond. In fact, law enforcement was standing passively by, waiting for violence to take place so that they would have grounds to declare an emergency, declare an unlawful assembly, and clear the area." Unquote. Think about that for a minute. Now we get to the real issue. So, CIA director, what did he say? This is CIA Director Mike Pompeo on CBS News. He said, quote, "When someone marches with a Nazi flag, that's unacceptable." Unquote. Well, is it? You see, this is the heart of democracy. If you want it. Not everybody wants democracy, but if you want democracy, everyone has a voice. Even the people you don't like. Ivanka Trump weighed in on Twitter saying, quote, "There should be no place in society for racism, white supremacy, or neo-Nazis." Sure, I agree with that, as an opinion. But in America, there is a piece of paper called the Constitution. The First Amendment states that, quote, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Not every country has the Constitution, but America does, and this happened in America. In 1989, the U.S. Supreme Court first established flag burning as a protected First Amendment act in Texas versus Johnson. The freedom of speech also applies to symbolic expression such as displaying flags, burning flags, wearing armbands, and burning crosses. That's the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, it does not protect hit-and-run drivers who kill pedestrians, and the driver has been arrested and will face the law for his actions. But people this week have been more outraged about the mere existence of the white supremacists and what they perceive as a failure to condemn them. This is not an issue of racism or black versus white. It's about tolerance, even for the ideals that are contrary to one's own. As long as the assembly is peaceful, it is lawful. America likes to present itself as the symbol of freedom. But the reality is that those who shout the loudest about freedom appear to only want freedom for those who have the same values as themselves. When you see an issue where people are quick to take sides, stop for a moment and deconstruct the story. Research the facts, and then you can form your own opinion about the subject. So that is our commentary for today, and it's time to go to a coffee break. That's right. And I'm going to enjoy some nice bread here by 3A Bakery. So I'll see you back after this short message.
Rung rau ប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រខ្មែរនៃលួងព្រះស្ដេចកនពុទ្ធសករាជ2052
វាដូចជាខ្លារត់ចេញពីទ្រុងអញ្ចឹងតាមចាប់វាឲ្យបានឯងទៅទិសបូននោះចុះ
ឯងដឹងឯងដឹងឯង
ជាឆ្នាំផ្ទុះឡើងនៅសង្គ្រាមផ្ទៃក្នុងដ៏ធំនៃអាណាចក្រខ្មែរត្រូវបានខាត់ចែកជាពីរវាសនាប្រទេសជាតិត្រូវបានកំណត់ដោយសង្គ្រាមការបង្រួបបង្រួមជាតិនិងលុបបំបាត់ការបែងចែកវណ្ណៈបានបង្កើតឡើងដែលចាជាប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រខ្មែររឿងលួងព្រះស្ដេចកនចាក់បញ្ចាំងចាប់ពីថ្ងៃទី18សីហា2017គ្រប់រោងភាពយន្តទាំងអស់
Welcome back. Wow, I hope you go see that movie. It looks like a really good one. It's in the Cambodian cinema, and I don't know, maybe it will be available after its theatrical release online for streaming, and anyone around the world can see it. So anyway, the coffee break was so delicious. And of course, I have my coffee. And I want to talk a little bit about 3A Bakery. Now they're all over Phnom Penh, but there is one just outside my house, so that's why it's my favorite. And I have to tell you, other bakeries, when they make their white bread, there's kind of this like sweet coconut flavor to the white bread, and I don't want to make my BLT sandwich or whatever with that sweet bread. I want just normal old-fashioned white bread, and 3A Bakery has it. And they also have this great whole grain loaf of bread, which is what I just had. I put butter, sometimes put jam It's just so delicious. I mean, sometimes I cut some slices of this bread and that's my breakfast or my lunch or my dinner. But anyway, so check out 3A Bakery. They have a lot of good pastries and things like this as well. And birthday cakes too. Okay, so back to the show. And what we've got now is the wacky news. Gotta love the wacky news. So first, oh my gosh, in India, you've got stray dogs that are turning bright blue from the river pollution. What? Yes. So there's this pollution in the river, and the dogs go swimming in the river, and they come out blue. Yeah, I don't think it's a good thing. Cat owner turned 50 cardboard boxes into like an elaborate maze in their living room. Now it's just starting to trend, but I do remember when it was done for International Cat Day a couple of weeks ago, because Coal and Marmalade is the YouTube name of the channel that this was on, and I am actually a follower of Coal and Marmalade. They have great videos, and so I'm glad to see that that's trending right now. In Lake Tahoe, so on the border of California and Nevada, there was a man who had some bears, and there was like a mother and some baby bears. You don't want to mess with a mama bear, especially when her babies are around. She will get really mad. And anyway, so what he did is he got out his violin and he started playing music, and it actually calmed them down and they went away. So good for him. In Kentucky, this is quite interesting. There was a smartphone survived a 1,000-foot drop from an airplane, and the man was in the small airplane flying over Kentucky. There hit some turbulence in his smart, and he was like recording live, and it fell out of the plane. Well, bye smartphone, right? Wrong. It kept recording even after it fell, and so the people that they're in the yard, and it's like, hey bud, you dropped your smartphone. Let me check my pocket. No, I still got my smartphone. Whose smartphone is that? You know, and all this is captured on the video. So that's kind of trending right now. And by the way, it was a Samsung Galaxy S5, but it might have been in a case as well. Okay, if you like fishing stories, there's a story. A man's fishing, and he catches a fish. It's on the hook. He's reeling it in, and there's another kind of fish called a pike, and this fish tries to eat the fish that he's reeling in. So he's got one fish on his hook, and then he also got the pike, which was trying to eat the other fish. So he got two fishes for one, and that was in Michigan. All right, and finally for our wacky news, a Japanese bar is attracting attention from tourists due to their special waiters. And who are their waiters? Macaw monkeys. Macaw monkeys dressed up as waiters, and they're actually like serving the food and stuff. What? I'm sure the animal activists will be after them for that. You know, what's the labor law on monkeys? I don't know. Okay, so now we move into this week in history. And quite a lot of stuff happened. On the 14th, it's notable to mention that in 1973, the U.S. bombing of Cambodia officially ceased. Now, we here who live in Cambodia happen to know that it did not end in August of 73. It did continue for some time after, but try to research that information. It's really difficult to find. It's more of a word of mouth thing that refugees were pouring into Phnom Penh through 1974, even 1975, because of the bombing. And they were trying to escape the bombing, not just the fighting with the Khmer Rouge. So anyway, but officially, the U.S. stopped bombing Cambodia in 1973 on August 14th. August 15th, this is a big day. This has a lot of things. And we're going to go all the way back to 1057. Yes, 1057, almost 1,000 years ago. What happened on August 15th? Well, maybe you know about the Shakespeare play, but did you know it was really history? Macbeth was defeated and killed by Malcolm at the Battle of, please forgive me if I say this wrong, Lumpanen. Okay, I'm not even gonna try a second time. It's right or it's not. Okay, and he had the assistance of the English. So that's a whole big part of Scottish history. 1899, Henry Ford leaves Edison to start an automobile company. What a novel idea! And he went on to make the Model T and used an assembly line. So he's credited with being the first person to actually make an assembly line, which then revolutionized manufacturing. Okay, 1914, Panama Canal open to traffic. That was a huge thing because until then, if you were in the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, you had to go all the way down across the bottom of South America to get to the other side. So if you wanted to go from New York to San Francisco, for example, you had to go all the way around South America, which, you know, I mean, that's the bottom of South America is actually known as like the end of the world, and you can practically see Antarctica from there. So it was quite a trip just to go across to San Francisco. But then finally in 1914, the Panama Canal was finished and opened on this day, on August 15th. Also on August 15th, 1947, India and Pakistan win their independence from Britain. And boy, you could deconstruct that event, but we're not going to. 1961, the Berlin Wall was built, dividing East and West Berlin. 1969, the Woodstock Festival opened in Bethel, New York, and known as the Summer of Love, 1969, was kind of the height of the whole hippie era. Moving on now to August 16th, going to 1896, gold was discovered in the Yukon, sparking the last gold rush of the Wild West. Also kind of, if you hear the word Klondike, it often refers to that particular gold rush in Alaska. 1974, the Ramones gave their debut public performance and launched the punk rock revolution. Yes, indeed. 1977, Elvis Presley died in Memphis, Tennessee. He was 42 years old, the king of rock and roll, still remembered to this day. Yes, I have been to Graceland in Memphis. It is available as a museum for tours to see where he lived. Moving on to August 19th, what happened in 1964? The Beatles kick off the first U.S. tour at San Francisco's the Cow Palace Arena. So many awesome concerts at the Cow Palace. I mean, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I know all this history of it. I mean, Peter Frampton's live album was from the Cow Palace. But so in 1974, we have the Ramones launching the punk rock revolution, and in 1964, we have the Beatles kicking off the British invasion. What an amazing week in history. All right, cinema scene. So now we're going to do a review, and we're going to talk just a little bit about King Sadat Khan. Did I say that right, guys? Sadat Khan?
Sadat Khan.
Sadat Khan. Sadat Khan. Okay. And so this movie is like the first Cambodian epic movie about a period of Khmer history. Now, the director Mao Ayut, I have known him for many years, and whenever I'd go meet with him about something with the film industry, he would always tell me, about this story. I mean, it's his heart's passion to make a movie, and he finally did it. I am so proud of him, and congratulations, and it's in the cinemas right now. So if you are in Cambodia, you definitely want to get to the cinema and see this movie. It's going to be amazing. Every Khmer celebrity is in this movie. So you go ahead and support that and see that, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the film. All right, moving on to birthdays. Okay. We've got some celebrity birthdays and we've got some birthday clubs. So if you want me to mention you or your friend or your family, make sure that you just contact me at the Maven 2017 on all the social media, and several of them have messages. So whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, you can reach me at the Maven 2017. Okay, birthdays. First, on August 14th, we've got Steve Martin. He is a wild and crazy guy. Yes, indeed. And this photo is from his shtick that he used to do in the 70s. He's a lot older now, but he's still acting and he's still got it. Halle Berry, born in 1966. Very, very famous actress. On the 15th, we've got Napoleon Bonaparte, born in 1769. Ben Affleck in 1972. Definitely still a heartthrob for a lot of ladies. And for the guys, Jennifer Lawrence, born in 1990. Still a hottie. On August 16th, we've got James Cameron, born in 1954. Of course, he is the director of Titanic and Avatar and plenty of movies. Steve Carell. Is it Carell or Carroll? I'm not actually sure. But hey, happy birthday anyway. 1962 he was born, and a great comedic actor. One of my favorites, though, is Little Miss Sunshine. If you have not seen Little Miss Sunshine, go find it. And I promise you, you'll enjoy the adventures of this wacky family. In our birthday club, Malin Cam. Happy birthday! I'm so excited for you. Malin Cam is like my niece, so I'm happy to include you on the birthday club. And Adele Lagarta, happy birthday. Okay, moving on to the 17th, Davy Crockett, born in 1786. He was a frontiersman in the U.S., the Wild West. He was a soldier and a politician. He died at the Battle of the Alamo. Very, very historic moment in U.S. history. And there's a great Disney movie starring Fess Parker as Davy Crockett. So you might want to find that as well and give it a watch. Also on the 17th, we've got Mae West. Going back a few years, she was born in 1893, but she was one sassy mama. Yes, indeed. She didn't take nothing from nobody, and she wasn't afraid to give it either. And she was also a singer, besides an actress. And she was a playwright and a screenwriter. Okay, Robert De Niro, 1943. My goodness, he has owned cinema in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. He is still going. And in our birthday club, Devi Van Hon, happy birthday. Ning Sotiri, Dara Sang, Kristen Anson, and Nico. You know who you are over there at West Tech. Love you. Okay, on August 18th, we've got Robert Redford, 1937. And of course, one of his most iconic roles was as Sundance in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Again, if you've never seen this movie, it's time you find it and watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. But Robert Redford, he was the Great Gatsby. He's just, a legend. In our birthday club, Linda Lewis and Miriam Vergier. Happy birthday. All right, on the 19th, Coco Chanel, 1883. So if you love fashion, if you love perfume, you love Coco Chanel. Bill Clinton, born in 1946. And in our birthday club, we've got Rusarun, Friedhelm Detjen, and Mary Cargill. Happy birthday. And finally, wrapping up with the 20th, we've got Demi Lovato, born in 1992. And of course, everyone in Cambodia loves her because she did come here and do a live concert. So happy birthday. So that's our birthday club. Now it's time to talk about the contest. Every week we have a contest and we use Instagram for the contest. So make sure you follow me on Instagram so that you get an alert every Monday when I post the new picture. So we're gonna go back 2 weeks because we need to show our winner. And on this one, I was at the Riverside Bistro. So I go on Monday and I take an Instagram selfie somewhere in the city. And this one happened to be at Riverside Bistro. Your job is to figure out where I am and go to the same place and take a selfie of yourself in the same place. Okay, and so Paul, congratulations, you're our winner, and you are now in the lottery or lucky draw. Okay, we'll have a lucky draw at the end of the month for a great prize, and actually, everybody who takes a selfie, you are in for the lucky draw. So Paul gets to have his picture on the show. Okay. So make sure that you follow on Instagram so that you can play and participate with that at the Maven 2017. Okay, so we are at the end of the show, and it is time for our quote of the day. And it is, "Hate is a wasted energy." And that is by Alfred Hitchcock, very famous director. So I will leave you with that. Hate is a wasted energy. And I hope that you choose to share love with people and deconstruct your own news and figure things out and form your own opinions. And I just wish you the best of luck, and I will see you again next week. Make sure to follow me on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the Maven 2017. See you next week.